kind of fairly close to you as well. Good afternoon, everyone. Join us online. Delighted to be joined by Richie Wellens, new head coach at Ling and director of Martin Ling. We'll take a few questions here in person, and then we've got a couple from Zoom as well. So yeah, let's get started. Thank you, Brendan.
Welcome to Warwick, Richie. I guess the obvious question is, what attracted you to the club?
Well, I think it's a good club. I think everybody can see that. It's a really good club. I think the location in terms of recruiting players is fantastic. But more than anything, my conversation, first of all, with Martin, I actually met Martin probably a little bit over a year ago, and I was really impressed with what he had to say. And I'd already agreed to become manager Doncaster Rovers. Otherwise, I would have really thought about coming here over a year ago. But I have to say, my conversations with Nigel and with Kent, and especially Martin, have been so positive that I just want to be a manager that manages a football team, and I think they'll allow me to do that.
And I guess what you're known for mostly from your time at Swindon is attacking, free-flowing football. The club at the minute is in a relegation battle. They're in poor form. You're not going to have much time on the training ground. Is it a case you're going to have to be a little bit more pragmatic for these next couple of months?
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you would have asked me that question 3 years ago, I would have been quite naive and gone, no, I'm going to get my philosophy over straight away. And it might have been not the right time. I could have overloaded players with information. So I'm not naive enough now to think that, listen, we've got 5 or 6 games, the next 5 or 6 games are so important that the results are more important than performances. But then I'm a big believer that over a longer period of time, the performances are the most important thing, because I think over a long period of time they'll warrant the results that you need. And
like I mentioned there, you've had success in this division before with Swindon winning the league. What do you think it takes to be successful in this division?
Good footballers who have a confidence and get a connection on the pitch. I think, everybody says that League 2 is, you need this, you need that, physicality, balls in a box. The team I had at Swindon that year, we've got promoted with Crewe and Plymouth. Plymouth was the only one of them clubs that actually kicked on and invested to go in League 1, and now they're doing really well. You look at this season, Forest Green, fantastic football team, so I think it's there in black and white, and it's staring us in the face. If you get really good footballers, technical footballers in the pitch, then you can get good results at this level.
And I imagine over this last week or so you've watched quite a bit of Orient. What have you made of it? What are the positives, but also what do they need to work on?
No, I'm not going to take too much. I'm not here to criticise anybody in the past. 15 games ago, he was in a fantastic position, scoring goals at will. Very strange that we're +6 goal difference. We're only 4 points above relegation. We've got 2 goal scorers in the top 10 in terms of the lead in the charts. Theo Archibald is in the top 6 in terms of assists, so very, very strange. But something's happened. Something's obviously negative has happened. I'm just going to come in and give them confidence. I want them to play with a freedom. I want to give the young players an opportunity. I want them to feel that they can get into the team, but also I want the experienced lads to lead them younger players and run the dressing room, because I think there's a massive opportunity to turn this around and look forward at this club.
And your last 2 jobs have been relatively short-lived at Doncaster and Salford. What have you learned from those 2 jobs, and what can you take into this one? Yeah,
again, the Salford one, I was recruited to get a style of football across because they wasn't happy with the existing style. My record was okay there. I won a trophy and probably mimicked my previous manager's ratio in terms of points per game, but I was never allowed a transfer window or a couple of transfer windows to recruit and to get players in that I wanted. And when you get that as a manager, it's really tough. And then obviously Doncaster in League 1 with COVID, and I'm having to recoup the losses they lost from COVID. That was a really tough situation. But I probably made a mistake in going to Doncaster, if I'm being honest. I let my heart rule my head. There was a lot of red flags there, but listen, it was a club that I loved and I have a great time there in terms of a player, and had a great relationship with the fans, so it was very difficult for me to turn down, in terms of it was a club that was definitely pulling on my heartstrings, and in hindsight I shouldn't have done it.
And Noel Hunt has been your assistant at Swindon and Doncaster, I believe. I know he's got a new job at Reading. Is he someone you're looking to bring in, or is it a new number 2
for you? No, so we're going to work with Matt Harrold. I think Matt Harrold is I've spoke to a lot of people, is first and foremost a good guy, but then he's a coach that wants to be the future of Leyton Orient. So I think he's going to be really important, especially in the next couple of weeks. I'm going to have to lean on him a lot. But then we're quite close to getting somebody else, and it's not quite over the line yet. So obviously we'll give you that information when obviously the contract is signed.
You as a player were a pretty good central midfielder. There's a lot of young central midfielders in this squad, players like Hector Cipriano and Ethan Coleman. Are those the ones you're most looking forward to working with and mould in, perhaps?
Yeah, I enjoy working with midfield players because that was my position, but also I enjoy working with wingers and strikers because that's where you win football matches. You need to score goals, so I do enjoy that. But obviously we need a defensive structure to work from as well. So listen, we'll get the staff in, and then we'll see how the dynamics work between us and the staff, and then we'll designate certain people to look after certain areas. But I do enjoy looking at midfield players, wingers, strikers, yeah.
And Martin, I imagine hiring a new manager is a stressful time at the best of times, but I imagine in this kind of relegation battle Orient find themselves on, it's been a particularly hectic couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's always hectic, as you say, when you appoint a new manager. Yeah, and the situation that we're in has made it doubly so, you know. And but you know, the be all and end all is that Richie alluded to us meeting, you know, last year when the job was available, and I was really impressed with him, and I was really impressed with what he had done at Swindon previously, and I felt that he would have been a perfect fit at that stage. He was honest enough within the interview process with me to say that he's very likely to go to Doncaster. But I was impressed that he actually turned up and come and spoke to me, because that meant that, you know, there was still a chance. He wanted to see what the club was about, and yeah, I think we got a connection then. And obviously, when the job became available again, I think Richie was the best candidate out there. Yeah, it took time. We do things properly. He's gone through an interview process with the board and with Kent and Nigel and myself, and yeah, I really looking forward to him to put that slant on what he sees as a good football side, and you know, he's right what he says. He knows what situation we're in, and he knows he ain't going to turn it into free-flowing football by just doing Thursday, Friday, and we're going to appear on Hartlepool doing that. But he will have an emphasis on that will lead into what he wants eventually.
And I believe Richie is the 6th permanent manager since yourself and the new owners came in 2017. What makes Richie different from the other 5?
Yeah, look, it's too many. You know, I would love it to be that Richie signed a 2.5-year contract, and I'd be like to sit there in 2.5 years' time saying that he's just signed a new 2.5-year contract. You know, we want a manager for the long term of this football club, because we do believe that we are a good League One club that can possibly push towards the Championship. Now that's you know, that's brave of me to say when you're 18th in League Two, but there's, you know, the situation for me, since the passing of Justin, we haven't got it right yet. That's the truth of the matter, and we need to get it right. I think Richie's the man to get it right, and there's no one more than me that would rather not sack managers, would rather keep managers. But it's been we always believe if we're doing it, we're doing it for the right reason to make us better. I think in this instance we've done that.
And finally, for me, Richie, you played in the 2001 playoff final, I think, against Leyton Orient, and you've also managed here for Swindon. What are your impressions from the outside of this club previously?
We did. We give you a 1-0 goal start in that final, didn't we? I have to say, when I came here with Swindon, listen, we was 3 transfer windows into that process, and we was an excellent team. I think the Leyton Orient fans will probably resonate with that, because we was 3-0 at half time. And I knew every time I put that team on the pitch, I knew what I was going to get. Win, lose or draw, if we lost, I'd take confidence from that, because I knew what I was going to get, so we could look at the process going forward. But I think the most important thing about the club now is, Martin mentioned Justin, and the biggest thing that Justin had with this club is his relationship with the supporters, and that's what I want to get. You know, I've had a relationship with Swindon supporters which was fantastic, absolutely unbelievable. It's a club that I still love, I still look out for the results. And then you move to another club in Salford, and COVID has happened. So I definitely lost something in the way that I feel during COVID, because to manage a team, especially when you take over in the middle of a season with no supporters, you can't get that relationship, that interaction with your players. What I want to do now is get a really good feeling around the club as soon as possible. The players will meet me, they'll see how enthusiastic, they'll see that I want to improve them, obviously for the results on a Saturday and a Tuesday, but also for their own personal development as well. And then above all, I want to get big relationship with support, so they come here and they have fun, they feel that they can, you know, watch a team that they enjoy watching, because that's what football's all about. You work hard Monday to Friday, and this is a release. You want to come to you want to come to the stadium on a Saturday and see your team play well and win football matches.
Hi, I'm Abby. Martin, it's been a fairly lengthy process from the sacking of Kenny Jackett to appointing Richie today. Can you explain why that's taken perhaps longer than expected given the state that the club is in?
Yeah, I mean, the decision to sack Kenny was taken. Sometimes clubs will have somebody lined up. We don't do the process like that. We do the process properly. So we do through an interview process from myself, from the board. It's a longer process because we feel it's more chance of getting it right. It took 3 games that we've played, but Richie's in place now. So for me, I don't think it's been a long process. I just think it's been a proper way to do the due diligence and come out with the right answer. And if that means that someone else like Matt had to take 3 games to get the right answer for the long term, then I'm okay with that.
And as mentioned, it's a 2.5-year contract. What is the immediate target that you've given to Richie?
I think it's pretty plain. It's to get us away from the bottom of this league, to stabilise us, to make sure that we're not looking over our shoulder at them bottom 2. I don't think I need to say that to Richie. It's pretty obvious it's right in front of him.
Playing Hartlepool is your first game. You Leyton Orient beat them 5-0 earlier on in the season. Does that help you, knowing that this is a team that was sort of a result from previously in the season, that the team should at least take some confidence going into that game? Well,
sometimes it works like that, but you don't know what form Hartlepool are in. You don't know if it's the same personnel. Obviously, we've got a few injuries at the moment, so listen, it might be little things in there. But one was a home game. Now we're playing away. I just want to go in tomorrow morning. I can't wait to meet the players. I've obviously had three months out, so I'm refreshed, I'm excited, and I can't wait to get in a training ground, put a smile on the players' face, and look forward to going to 2 tough away games coming up. And we need a good points return from them.
As your first time in the south, are you planning to move to London?
Well, I've actually worked in the south before. Obviously, Swindon is south. When you live in Manchester, anything probably past Stoke is south.
When you live in London, anything past Watford is north.
No, people always say that about me, but I'm living in London. It's not a bad place to live. So again, that excites me. The fact that I'm coming to somewhere now where I've never lived before. It's one of the best cities in the world. But the biggest thing for me is when you manage clubs that are quite isolated, it's quite difficult to get out to games because it's very time consuming. But within a 30-40 minute drive, that's probably 2 miles down the road.
Yeah.
But I can get to all the big clubs around here, the 23s, I can get to loads of games. So again, it furthers my development in terms of knowledge of 23s players and knowledge of players in the surrounding areas. So I think it's a fantastic place to live.
Thanks for that. We're going to try now join a couple of journalists we got on Zoom. So bear with us for any technical difficulties. But I'd like to start with yourself, Lee. Or was that Lee? Was that? How are we doing? Can we hear you?
He's on mute.
What's going on there, Joe?
Any second now. Do you want to stop to the other guy? I knew this was ambitious.
There we go.
How about yourself? Can we hear? Have we got audio coming from you?
You've had one job.
Okay, yeah. Do you want to start us off on the call there?
Do you want me to start?
Yes, please.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, Richie, hiya mate, it's Chris from the Football League paper. We've spoken a few times over the years, and I was just wondering what as someone said before, that your experiences at Doncaster and Salford, have they sort of toughened you up as a manager and kind of, you know what I mean, have they been sort of bracing experiences for you?
Well, the Salford one, listen, I went in at Salford, like I said before, to change the identity of the club, to get a style of football that they wasn't enjoying, the owners. But if I'm being honest with myself, could I have managed more Gary than the other lads, because Gary was a chairman, he was the focal point of the club. I definitely could have handled him better. I could have had a better relationship with him. And then the Doncaster one, my remit, it was, if you look at all the, my remit from when I went in there, if you look at all the old newspaper clippings and what have you from last summer, my remit was just, it was a transitional period and just to keep the club up. The budget reflected in that, but then the amount of injuries that we've had, that definitely toughened me up, because I think in that period I probably coached at my best. But when you're going up against clubs like Ipswich, Sunderland, some real big clubs, it was very difficult to compete. But I just think that when you take isolated circumstances, you look at, before I went in at Doncaster, the club had won 3 in 24, and then you look, since I've left, it's just a really difficult job for anybody to go in there. So, as I alluded before, the red flags were there, and I probably, in hindsight, shouldn't have took it.
And this, do you see this as a sort of big job for yourself? Because I know obviously you have had success in the past as well, but you kind of don't want to be known as a manager who doesn't stay somewhere for very long, you know what I mean? I'm assuming you want to make this, you don't want to get that reputation.
No, 100%, and I thought I had that at Swindon. If COVID would have never happened, I would have probably still be at Swindon, and obviously they've changed ownership now, so that was a really difficult situation for me, and I took the decision to go to Salford. But again, if it wasn't for COVID, I would have been at Swindon. And if you look at the two clubs that went up with Swindon that year, Crewe, obviously Dave Artell had to sell a lot of his players, and now it's a big struggle for him, even though he's a really good manager. Plymouth were the ones that reinvested in the squad and now are kicking on. I honestly believe that if this club is successful next year and we can get promoted, it has the potential to then kick on, invest, and become a really good League One club, and that's the plan.
Yeah, and you personally, Richie, I mean, I know you're a confident fella, but no one likes losing jobs. I mean, did your confidence get knocked, or have you always believed in yourself?
Sorry, I missed the end of it.
I'm saying, mate, I know you're a confident bloke, but nobody likes losing jobs. So did your confidence take a knock with that, or have you still always believed in yourself?
No one likes losing football matches, especially at a club that I had a really good relationship with. But for the first 7 league games, I never had a fit centre forward and I never had a fit winger, and the club never went out and supported me in terms of getting a player in to replace the injured lads who obviously couldn't give us any attacking options. So nobody likes losing football matches, but you reflect on it and you move forward. And I do think that I've only been a manager for 4.5 years. I do think it's made me stronger. I do think I'm more of a rounded manager to take that forward and take it into this Leyton Orient job.
Yeah, thank you, mate.
Thank you. We finally get the volume when he's finished.
Yeah. I think it was Lee who's with us as well. You there? If not, then I think that'll be us for today. But yeah, thanks everyone that joined us online, and wish you a good rest of the day.